What'd you put there, Joe?
How do I teach my kids to handle losing, whether in games or life?
Well, according to Phil last week, the world has agreed there's no more ARD, so they're already losing at life.
Wow.
Phil said it.
Wow.
I would never say that.
What a jerk, Phil.
Phil was a jerk. Yeah, Phil's a jerk. We're going to talk about that. It's okay. All right. But yeah, okay. So what do you do?
I would focus on the fact that losing does not make one a loser. The only time you become a loser is when you give up, because you don't have to stay in a losing state unless you give up.
Okay. The games one, we've all talked about having fun. Every game we played, and Crosby was very, very competitive. My wife hated this game, and none of us can remember the rules. But one night when I think at most Oakland was 6, that means Crosby was 5. We played slap fight, and it had to do with I was teaching them slap jack for a second. Then one of them smacked me and thought it was funny. So then we started changing the rules and making it where you slapped each other on the arm and this and the other. And the rule was, because obviously I'm massive and they're little kids, like if you hit hard, I'm not going to hit really hard, but I'm going to match what you're doing, basically.
Match your energy.
Yeah. And Crosby, I mean, she would take it like a champ, but she would take a moment, go over the corner, hold her arm, and try not to cry. And she'd come back, and she would haul off the next time she got the slap. So I'd do it as hard as she could. I'm like, all right. So we ended up self-ending that game, but she was so competitive that way, to where Aaron wouldn't want to play any game with her. And I said, well, that's also a problem, because we could tell her you have to win or lose gracefully and win gracefully, or you can't play with this. And we just, because losers lose, right? That nobody wants to be around the people with those temper tantrums and get upset. So I wouldn't let her join in the games. Like, but I'd talk to her like an adult, even though she was 4, 5, 6, 7 years old. If you lose, are you going to be cool about it? And she'd be, yeah. I said, okay. If you win, are you going to be cool about it? She said, yeah. Well, it took time. But as we did that, because she didn't always live up to the word, it's okay, next time you can't play. But as we did that, she had fun getting celebrated, and then she found fun in celebrating others. And we've just tried to do that with games, and to a bigger extent, life. So send me Bob. I got you. We'll play slapjack my way.
My wife put in the chat, Bob needs this one. He's been super whiny about losing. Yeah. Whenever he doesn't get his way lately, he's he automatically, the pitch of his voice becomes a whine, and I'm just like, nope. You can go to your room until you're done whining. I'm not dealing with that.
Yeah, and it takes time. It takes grace and over communicating that they're welcome, but this is a behavior that we expect. It's kind of how we treat society, right? We expect certain behaviors in certain areas, and sometimes there's a reasonable expectations, and sometimes there are not. But I think the movie is A Tree Grew in Brooklyn, but De Niro, I know it's a De Niro character. I think it's that one where he's the father, but he's being asked, is it better to be loved or hated? And he says it's better to be loved. But if you can't be loved, be feared. Because while fear will keep a lot of people in line, ultimately they want to get out from under that pressure. But if you're loved, they'll put their life on the line for you. And then he turned it around and talked about how then you have power over them and you can take stuff away. And I've used that to a little bit with my kids. And in this case with the game, it's like, you want to play. You want to be a part. We want you to be a part, but we're taking away that togetherness because you ruin it for everybody. You're not having fun. We're not having fun, so we're going to choose to have fun.
Yep.
So.
Yeah. I think it's just the whole thing is fostering an attitude of of never giving up and having a good attitude when you do lose, because not everything in life is going to go your way. Period. It's just not.
Yeah.
And but in those times it can be hard to focus on the times when it has gone your way. But
Yeah.
if you can focus, okay, this is momentary. It will like uh, valleys and peaks.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
momentary. Things will look back up. Um, and yeah, having a positive attitude can change everything. Like even like if you're thinking about um, your relationships, whether it's your spouse or a friend or something, if you're focusing on what they're not doing that you wish they were, instead of being appreciative for what they are doing,
Uh-huh.
your own mindset, your own subconscious will get rewired if you're focusing on appreciation instead of on the negative. And you can do that
Hmm.
with when it comes to losing. If you focus on, like, say you're playing a video game, because one of the things we put on here was games, you may have lost the round, but you can focus, ooh, I got that one hit that was really good, or that one combo that was really good. And you can focus on
Hmm.
the aspects that went well, that went in your favor. And that can completely change your overall attitude based on what you're focusing on.
Yeah. Yeah. And that message comes out a lot more when they're teenagers and in sports and those kind of things for sure. And the modeling. I always try to figure out how I showed them the negative behavior. So I'm not saying it's like they're getting it from somewhere, but I felt like my kids, there were definitely times, I played video games and that real negative energy came out and I'm upset and blaming the game, blaming whatever and being mad. But I tried more to model the good behavior of really hyping up the celebrations when they won, especially if it took them a while, right, to do it. Secondly, to be a funny sore loser every once in a while to call attention to myself or whatever. But mostly to say, hey man, great. That whole thing you want to see, great game. Here's how you won. Look at you, you did it. The positive affirmations that tend to really do, and then pass it down. It's like Crosby, you came in second, man. You're so close. You beat me, man. Or you know, if it's close, like very much like doing Fandom face off, Joe, how I'm working the crowd. It's very
Yep.
much like, oh my God, okay, that kind of thing. And that helped. Um,
You
but
died to Lyme disease.
yeah. Oh, that's what I was getting to. Yeah, that was so funny too. But it was um, that grace in letting them have the moment of being upset. And if they give you the indication they want to come back in, acting like it never got upset, right? Just letting bygones be bygones, kind of saying, okay, cool, here's your turn, and just never making a big deal of it if they're putting in those efforts. And I found that helped some with the kids.
Yep.
Same in life, man. My 20-year-old, he was so excited. He got finally got an interview with Valvoline. He's been working Waffle House, and he's fine with it. It's decent money. He actually enjoys it okay, but the schedule's up and down, and I get
Mm.
that. And they do treat him right, and we all acknowledge how they do the schedule. If he does like 2 days, they'll give him at least a day off before they put him on nights to try to let it swap.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not a ton of time, but it's not time. Um, and he's doing that, but it's also his girlfriend's schedule is off of his, so it's making it a little bit harder to hang out. So of course, as any human does, he wants to have a schedule match her. So he got a interview with Valvoline, and it was for this morning. He talked about it, and he confirmed it. He missed it this morning. He got out to his alarm. I don't know what time it was set for. And
Oh
it was a
no.
Zoom. Yeah, it was a Zoom meeting, and I didn't even realize it was today. Because I would have knocked on his door, checked on him, or whatever. But he came to the house. And he's like, "I'm going to get my oil change." His girlfriend works at an oil change place. So I'm like, "Oh, you get it for free?" And he's like, "No, I missed the interview." I'm like, and I put the dots together. Oh no, he that night. But in the past, he would have been just like I would have been. He would have been raging. He'd have been upset. I'd have been mad at him, or really mad for him. But it comes out mad at him, and actually probably a little mad at him. but because we've worked on what you were just talking about, Joe, all these things with the patients and the teaching them, he changed his attitude. He lost the round. And he's like, he's obviously frustrated, but he's like, yeah, I'm going to try to reschedule, and I just went back to sleep. I don't know what happened. And so Mario Kart came in handy, Joe, is all I'm saying. Oh, one final thing. Don't let your kids win. I mean, boost their confidence sometimes. If you know you can pull back a little bit without them noticing, you're teaching victory. Because if somebody just gets beat down, they want to quit. But the better they got at a game, the more I stopped pulling punches, as it were, right? As I understood how to play it. And Dominion, we've been playing it fairly often, me and the boys. It took Ryland probably 20 games before he beat me once.
Okay.
He's only beat me once. I've literally beat everybody else that I've played with. And it's not because I'm like, I got to beat you. It's like, no, I'm going to play the game. And giving that respect helps them be sore losers because they can win. And they know they can win. You know, I reference Mario Kart, but I don't care how good you are at Mario Kart. Sometimes the track just tracks all over your face.
Yep.
You know, things happen.
Yeah. I told my boys, I gave them a monetary incentive that if they beat me at chess, I told them I'm not going to go easy on you. I'm never going to go easy on you. But if you beat me at chess, I'll pay you money. So there was a while there where they were like, Dad, I want to play chess. I want to play chess. And yeah, no, I beat them.
And then they quit playing chess.
Yeah, I haven't played chess with them for a hot minute. But
now the question comes, and I don't know if there's an answer, but the question comes. Did they quit because they saw no hope in winning? Or maybe y'all got busy and they forgot to ask you and you forgot to ask them?
Maybe a little bit of both. Like we stopped because they saw no hope, but they would have picked up again if they had remembered. So
tell a story about Malachi and Smash.
Okay,
it's called Netflix and Smash, but okay, Kelsey.
I had actually put it in Nerding Out, but I've got something else for Nerding Out, so I will talk about it. So my oldest, Malachi, he was talking trash about Smash. He was like, Dad, you can't beat me at Smash. I'm like,
oh, that's when you absolutely don't hold back.
I'm like, oh, really? I'm like, are you sure about that? He's like, yeah. No, I've been playing a ton. And he's played Smash Ultimate way more than I have. But, you know, there's a lot of other Smash games. And so I'm like, okay, I'll play you. And here's what we're going to do so that we get the randomness out of it. No items. We're going to play stock. And there is, I guess, the randomness that we are going to put into it is the stage, because we don't want anyone having a stage that favors them, like picking a stage that favors them. So we're going to do random on the stage. I'm like,
okay.
All right. And so he's like, all right. And I'm like, you still think you can beat me? He's like, yes, I'm going to beat you. Like, all right. So he picks his character and I go over and I put my character as random. And so we get into the game.
Yeah.
And first life. And I tell him this partway through the first life, I'm like, you do realize I'm only using the A button, right? He's like, what? I'm like, yeah, I'm only using the A button right now. And so after I killed him, I'm like, all right, let's add in the B button now. Killed him again. I'm like, all right, now this is your last life. I'm gonna use all the buttons. And he did end up getting one kill on me, but that was it. So we played 3 lives, and I had a random character, and he had the character he wanted, and I demolished him.
That's glorious. You kind of want to lean over, as like, this is how that goat felt in the original Jurassic Park. Yeah.
But yeah, I don't let them win.
No, I mean, okay, if you're really trying, like, I'm not a chess guy, but we'll use a chess reference. You got to encourage, like, oh, you're getting better. You're definitely, you lasted longer. You know, those are the wins for them. And after this, I beat him at Mario Kart, Kelsey says.
Yep.
But yeah, there's that encouragement, but that's the flip side. They get big for their. They want to do the. Are you sure you want to do that, sir? It's like, let's put some money on it kind of deal. I did the whole Mario Kart thing where I didn't even look at the TV. I just stared at Ryland, and I beat him. You know, and sometimes you gotta break their spirit to build them back up as stronger warriors. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah, they get a little big for their britches. That's for sure.
Yeah, man.